On the eve of the college entrance exam, the school bully suddenly confessed to me. He said if I agreed, I would have to give up the exam for him and let Suran take the top spot at our school. If I refused, he would cripple both my hands right then, making it impossible for me to take the exam, and the top spot would still go to Suran. As he said this, Suran was hiding not far away, snickering. She thought I was done for this time. In my past life, I indeed fell here, resulting in my hands being crippled and missing the college entrance exam. Fortunately, this time I was well prepared. I pulled out a megaphone from my backpack, pressed the playback button, and instantly the school bully's voice echoed across the sky. Shinshuyo, I like you, date me. At the hottest part of the afternoon, I was just leaving the teaching building when the school bully Jochin blocked my path to the cafeteria. Get out of the way. I pretended to be scared and took half a step back. In the previous life, it was around the same time as now that he stopped me here. When I refused to date him, he pulled out a hammer and smashed both my hands. After that, I was never able to hold a pen again, let alone take the college entrance exam. I became a useless person waiting to die, and my parents often lamented about this. Not long after, my mother developed depression. My father, feeling that my mother and I were burdens, divorced her and abandoned us, taking the compensation money from the Zhou family to start a new family. As for Jochin, he was originally sentenced to 5 years in prison for intentional injury, but because my father was willing to pay money to settle the case, his sentence was reduced to 2 years. After 2 years, he regained his freedom and continued living in luxury, driving expensive cars and residing in villas. As for me, I lived in a daze for the rest of my life, sinking into endless darkness. I couldn't find a job, nor could I live a decent life. I could only survive by collecting scrap with my mother, acting all virtuous. You wore a dress today just to seduce me, didn't you? Now that I'm confessing my feelings to you, you should be happy, but don't get too excited too soon. I have a condition. If you agree to date me, you must immediately give up your college entrance exam for me and yield the title of top scorer in our school to Suran. Don't worry, my family is wealthy. I won't ruin your future. I'll have my family arrange for you to study abroad. Afterward, he said this with great arrogance, as everyone in school knew his family was indeed rich. Otherwise, how could a poor student who skips school all day to play games get into our key high school? That's because his dad donated a whole experimental building to the school with money. Suren was the mastermind behind the scenes in my previous life who ordered him to ruin my hands. She believed that as long as I, the top student in the entire school, wasn't there to mess with her mindset, she would definitely achieve the top score in the whole school and even the entire city. Jochin confessed his feelings to me not because he actually liked me, but because she ordered him to ruin my mindset and break my hands. It was only because she resented that I always ranked first in every exam, while she was sometimes second, sometimes third. Instead of thinking about studying harder to surpass me, she only wanted to get rid of both me and another classmate who often ranked second, and Jochin was her most loyal admirer, doing whatever she told him to do. He would kill or set fires without even blinking an eye, which is why Suren grew to hate him so much and dared to do anything. What if I don't accept? I suddenly looked up and asked him tentatively, if you don't agree, I'll break both your hands right now, making sure you can't take the college entrance exam. The top spot will still belong to Suren. Jochin arrogantly pulled out a brand new hammer from behind his back, waving it in front of me. As he said this, he even secretly glanced back at Suren hiding in the corner. Suren was standing not far away at the corner, her skirt hem visible. Seeing Jochin still talking nonsense, she impatiently waved her hand, signaling him to get on with the real business. When Jochin turned his back, she shot me a defiant glance, as if saying, so what if I instigated it? So, you confessed to me because Suren told you to. You don't actually like me at all, do you know that intentionally causing harm is a crime punishable by jail time? Aren't you afraid? I tried my best to coax him into making even more outrageous statements. So what if I am? My dad owns Fengji Hotel. If I break both your hands, the worst that happens is I spend 2 years in jail and then get out. Think about it. Will you date me, or should I break your hands right now? He sneered coldly, walking toward me without a care, even clearly stating who his father was. What a pleasant surprise. I won't date you. You're just Suren's lapdog. You're truly disgusting. As he approached, I pushed him hard with all my strength. Actually, I had originally planned to use the small fruit knife I carried on me to deliver a fatal blow, but I knew that if I did, the nature of the situation would change, and I'd be judged as excessive defense. At that point, being implicated by him, I might still not be able to smoothly take the college entrance exam, so I held back the urge to fight back. You fucking ungrateful bastard. He raised his hand and slapped me hard. That slap was forceful, leaving my cheek severely swollen. I didn't fight back or dodge. What I wanted was for him to leave evidence of his crime on my face. Because I was live streaming after being reborn, there's no way I could have known in advance they were going to attack me and just done nothing. I made plenty of preparations. Not only did I prepare for the live stream, I also had a big gift ready for him. Classmate. Joe, I have no grudge against you. Why did you hit me? This is a crime. I'm calling the police. While clutching the swollen spot on my body, I reached for my phone that I was using for the live stream. Calling the police was a lie, but provoking him was the real goal. You dare call the police? After saying that, he pressed one hand against my shoulder and raised the hammer in his other hand, aiming to smash it down on my hands. Help, murder. Someone come quickly, I shouted, hiding my hands behind my back. What are you yelling about? He was startled, and I took the chance to kick him hard, then ran toward the cafeteria. Jochin is trying to kill someone, I shouted as I ran. Quickly reaching the corner, Suran, who had been hiding there hoping to watch the commotion, instinctively tried to run. I swiftly grabbed her and hid behind her. I begged pitifully, please, don't let Jochin cripple my hands. I'm different from you all. I'm just a child from an ordinary family. The college entrance exam is my only way out. Please. Just give me a chance to survive. The more pitifully I cried, the more outrage I stirred among the viewers in the live stream, seeing that quite a few people from the cafeteria had rushed out upon hearing the noise to gawk. Suran quickly denied it. What nonsense are you spouting? When did I ever let him hurt you? Then she glared at Jochin and whispered for him to quickly put away the hammer. Hurry up and throw it away. His voice was soft, and Jochin had to walk a few steps closer to hear him clearly, casually tossing the hammer into the grass of the nearby green belt. When the students who had been eating in the cafeteria gradually came over to ask what had happened, Suran immediately said, nothing, we just happened to run into each other and exchanged a few words. She wanted to gloss things over, but I didn't. If I can't completely crush both her and Jochin today, they'll definitely try to attack me again before the college entrance exam. I cried and rushed into the crowd, shouting, Jochin wants me to be his girlfriend. I refused, and he threatened to smash my hands with a hammer. Some people exclaimed, goodness, how terrifying. Others defended Jochin, saying, that's impossible. Doesn't Jochin only like Suran? He chases after Suran every day. How could he suddenly like Shinshuyo? Seeing that they didn't believe me, I directly pulled out a huge loudspeaker from my bag. This was my backup plan prepared earlier, just in case they tried to back out. Then I turned on the loudspeaker's recording function and cranked the volume to the maximum. Jochin's voice came through clearly from it. Shinshuyo, I like you. Go out with me, acting all virtuous. You wore a dress today just to seduce me, didn't you? If you agree to date me, you must immediately give up your college entrance exam for me. If you refuse, I'll break both your hands right now, making it impossible for you to take the exam. Then Suran will still be number one. Every word he spoke was either testing the limits of morality or the boundaries of the law. He's so stupid, he doesn't even know how to fake it. All he has is money and force, no brains at all. When his voice echoed across the campus, I don't know if he'll die or not, but social death is definitely unavoidable. Suran is really despicable in her bid for first place, actually sending her stalker to pursue Shinshuyo. How is that pursuing? That's threatening. Who chases a girl by threatening to break both her hands? Is Jochin a brainless pig? Suran told him to ruin someone's future, and he knew he'd go to jail, yet he still did it. Everyone chatted among themselves, pushing Jochin and Suran into the center of public opinion. I don't need to do anything now. I just need to cry to gain sympathy. I'm the victim. It's normal for me to cry, right? I burst into tears. Suran promised fair competition. How could you have him cripple my hands just so you could get first place in the school on the college entrance exam? I have no grudge against you. I don't even know him. Turn it off. Quickly turn it off. Seeing more and more people gathering around, Suran panicked. She immediately pointed at me and shouted. She had always presented herself as lively, cheerful, and adorable. The recording from this loudspeaker was enough to ruin her usual image. Are you cowards who dare to do it but not to admit it? I didn't care. Instead, I ran all over the cafeteria holding a megaphone. Since there were so many people, I wanted the whole school to hear their true faces. Jochin, what are you standing there for? Grab her megaphone, Suran shouted anxiously, pushing Jochin, who was still standing there in shock. Oh, Jochin immediately started running to catch up with me. He was an athlete and quite tall, so catching up with me should have been quick, but the cafeteria was packed, and several classmates who didn't like Jochin were there. When he came after me, They secretly tripped him by blocking his way with their feet. He nearly fell down. After being tripped several times in a row, he angrily shouted, "Who tripped me?" No one paid attention to him. They quickly pulled their feet back and went on eating. By the time he turned around, I had already run to the school gate, waiting for the police to arrive. I didn't call the police, but the kind-hearted netizens in the live stream, seeing how arrogant he was, called the police for me out of concern for my safety. Calling the police was the right move. Now, with what just happened being broadcast live through my cousin's phone as a gaming streamer, the school can't cover my mouth anymore. It's already too late. If I want fairness and a quiet environment for the college entrance exam, I must first make sure Jochin and Suran are completely unable to cause any more trouble. Before the police arrived, the head of the academic affairs office, Director Su, rushed over. He was panting heavily and pointed at me, saying, "Who allowed you to use a loudspeaker at school? Do you realize you're disturbing others?" He is Suran's biological uncle. Suran dared to openly incite Jochin to commit violence because she relied on his influence, believing that with her uncle around, no matter how much trouble she caused at school, it could all be smoothed over. But this time, they've kicked the iron plate that is me. I am reborn. So I have long prepared a comprehensive plan to deal with this. I sneered and said, "Just now, your niece incited Jochin to commit violence on campus. Why didn't you say they were in the wrong? Or is it because she's your niece, so you only allow officials to set fires while forbidding commoners to light lamps?" I stood up for myself. Was that wrong? Director Su didn't speak. Instead, he snatched the loudspeaker from my hand and smashed it to the ground, shattering it into pieces. He said, "You're talking nonsense. Suran is such an outstanding student. How could she possibly incite Jochin to commit violence? This is slander, and she can sue you for it." I sneered. "The sledgehammer Jochin used to commit the assault is still left in the grass. The evidence is solid. Are you trying to help them deny it?" Director Su was completely enraged by me. He pointed at my nose and shouted, "That never happened. You're slandering them. You're just jealous because one is good at studies and the other comes from a good family. This is slander." I didn't back down. I raised my head and retorted, "My academic performance is #1 in the entire school. Do I need to be jealous of them? Jealous of someone who ranked second or third through plagiarism? Or jealous of Jochin whose grades are as worthless as a pile of shit? I have no motive to slander them." Director Su was furious and yelled at me, "You're utterly ungrateful. I say this incident never happened." So it never happened. He wasn't satisfied after speaking, so he kicked the smashed horn a few more times, thinking that way there would be no evidence left to prove what I said. He even threw the horn fragments into the trash can right in front of me, then said, "Studentchen, you have seriously violated school rules and regulations. I now order you to come to my office." Trying to silence me, I looked toward the police car approaching not far away and pointed over there. "Wait a moment. After all, I need to cooperate with the police to give a statement first." Director Su said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, "Very good. How dare you call the police? But what good will it do you? You have no evidence." I pulled out my phone from my jacket pocket, which had been live streaming the whole time, and waved it in front of him. "I do have evidence. This is my cousin's phone. He's a big gaming influencer. He lost a PK battle, and the other party punished him by making him do something fun. He chose to give me his phone so I could live stream our school cafeteria's lunch, but as luck would have it, I recorded the entire process of Suran instructing Jochin to assault me. Director Su's face instantly turned pale, because he knew this matter couldn't be covered up anymore. It wasn't something he alone could suppress. Now not only were Suran and Jochin in trouble, but he himself had also been dragged into it by me. In my previous life, this dean of students, after Jochin crippled my hands, actively helped Suran destroy the surveillance footage of her and Jochin conspiring in the hallway to cripple my hands. He also taught Jochin how to play the victim, spreading rumors around the campus that I had tried to seduce Jochin and failed, leading to Jochin accidentally injuring me. This not only caused me to lose my eligibility for the college entrance exam but also turned me into a despised and reviled person, and now, the gift I give him in return is his most cherished reputation, reduced to ashes. When the police arrived, I handed over my phone. "Officer, inside is evidence that my classmate Suran instructed Jochin to assault me, with the live stream and recording as proof." Then I pointed at Director Su and said, "This dean of students, unworthy of being an educator, attempted to destroy evidence to cover up the crimes of his niece Suran. I remember that Suran and Jochin, one celebrated their birthday last month, the other half a year ago, are both adults over 18 years old and should be held accountable for their actions." The police took Suran and Jochin away, along with me and Director Su. to the police station for questioning. The difference was that I walked into the police car myself under the sympathetic gazes of everyone, while they were escorted onto it. In the car, I called my mom to inform her about the incident, but asked her to keep it from my dad for now. My mom was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat, saying she wanted to come to the police station immediately. I told her to bring a lawyer along, as it might be needed. Shuyao, does your face still hurt? When my mom arrived, she immediately hugged me, scanning me from head to toe, and felt deeply distressed seeing my swollen cheek. It still hurts. The statement has been recorded. I demand to go to the hospital for an injury assessment. I feel terrible in my head, like I'm going to vomit. Please accompany me. I was faking my discomfort. Only by doing this could I magnify the consequences of Zhou Chen's assault. All right. Mom will go with you. We'll leave things here to Lawyer Chen. Before we left, my mom entrusted the lawyer surnamed Chen to handle Su Ran's instigation of Zhou Chen's assault. Even if they couldn't be sent to prison together due to the lack of serious consequences, it would still be good if they had to stay in detention for a few extra days. The college entrance exam is in 5 days. Zhou Chen doesn't care about the exam, but Su Ran does, to achieve an exceptionally good score. She turned down a rare guaranteed admission offer that Director Su had managed to secure for her. If she fails this exam, her strict parents won't let her off the hook. It's good to mess with her mindset. If she breaks down, let's see how she takes the exam. How can she stand out and outshine me? I'm really looking forward to it. At the hospital, I continued to pretend to be dizzy and nauseous. The doctor diagnosed me with mild concussion causing dizziness and tinnitus, along with facial contusions, which already constituted minor injuries. After my mom took a photo of the injury report and sent it to Lawyer Chen, the police station quickly negotiated and decided to detain Zhou Chen and Su Ran again, who had originally been scheduled for bail, resulting in each of them receiving 10 days of detention and a fine of 500 yuan. Such punishment was trivial for Zhou Chen. Whether he participated in the college entrance exam or not made no difference, as he was bound to study abroad eventually. This wouldn't even count as a criminal record on file. The mistakes he had made since childhood were far more serious than this, and he was a frequent visitor to the police station. But for Su Ran, it was a heavy blow. Her father was a university lecturer and her mother was the head of an education training institution. Once news of her detention spread, her proud parents would certainly not let her off easily. In fact, her mother had already patted her chest and told parents of the training institution students, "My daughter will definitely rank first in the entire school." More importantly, there are only 5 days left before the college entrance exam. By the time she's released in 10 days, the exam will already be over. Hearing she was going to be detained, she burst into tears. "I didn't do it on purpose. I just really wanted to be first," she begged her grandmother. "Grandma, please don't tell my parents about this. Go beg Shen Shuyao. I'll pay whatever amount, as long as she agrees to reconcile. As long as she's willing to let me go." Her grandmother nodded shakily. "I'll try my best. Sweetie, should we tell your dad about this?" To comfort me, my mom bought me a lot of snacks and took me to my favorite buffet restaurant. After we had eaten and drunk our fill, my mom asked me worriedly. She always felt that we were a family and that this shouldn't be kept from my dad, but my dad has also been keeping things from me. One of my classmates' moms works at the same hotel as my dad. She told her daughter that there was no overtime at the hotel last weekend, and there hasn't been any overtime this whole month. He's lying to you. In my previous life, after my hands were ruined, my dad immediately asked my mom for a divorce. When they were dividing the assets, my mom discovered that 200,000 yuan was missing from the card. That 200,000 yuan had been taken by my dad to appease his mistress outside. You're saying your dad is seeing someone else? How is that possible? He even cooked for me yesterday. My mom covered her mouth in disbelief, her whole body trembling because of it. She trusted my dad so completely. I don't want it to be true either, but I suggest you quickly check whether there have been any changes to the bank cards at home. Last weekend, I heard my dad talking on the balcony late at night, and he seemed to be calling some woman baby. I thought I had misheard him at the time, but now that I think about it, it's very suspicious, and my dad works at Zhou Chen's family hotel. Once he finds out about this, he will absolutely choose to take money and settle it privately just to flatter his boss, letting them avoid detention. That's the last thing I want to see. My mom loves my dad very much. After being together for so many years, suddenly telling her that my dad is having an affair, I think she would find it very hard to accept, but she has to face reality. Otherwise, when the truth is suddenly exposed, she'll be caught off guard. And she has felt firsthand just how selfish my dad is all these years. It's time for her to make a choice between my Dad and me, Mom knows, I'll secretly check his bank statements, you just focus on your college entrance exam. My mom nodded, not saying anything more. In the evening when I returned to school for self-study, I was summoned by the school. As soon as I entered the principal's office, Director Sue immediately pointed at me and said, "Do you have any live streaming device on you? Turn it off right away, after being tricked by me once." He's now on high alert. I shook my head. I didn't bring it. Director Sue wanted to ask a female teacher to search me, but I walked straight to the window and sat down on the windowsill. "You have no right to search me. If you have anything to say, say it now, and keep your distance. After I finish speaking, I'll leave immediately. If you come any closer, I'll jump from here right away." The news of the top student in the entire school dying in the principal's office must be quite sensational. After I said that, Director Sue was instantly so frightened that he didn't dare to move. I have nothing to lose, so once I decide to go all out, anyone who wants to do anything will have to think twice. The principal, who had originally intended to say something, immediately urged me to calm down. "Calm down. The school would never search you without reason. We called you here only to ask you to clarify something for the school regarding your live stream at noon today. We hope you can tell everyone in the live stream that our school is not a place that harbors wrongdoing, that our school is both standardized and rigorous." He immediately softened his tone. Director Sue became anxious at once. "Principal, that's not what we agreed on. We clearly said we would have her declare to the netizens that the incident at noon was not an emergency, but a self-directed, self-acted drama she staged to smear the school in order to become an internet celebrity. Now many netizens who have watched the live stream recording are clamoring online for the school to apologize to me, saying that the school condones Jochin and Suran bullying me, and is a place full of filth. Especially, many netizens believe that Director Sue abuses his power for personal gain and threatens students, and should be immediately expelled. His only chance to turn things around now is to force me to retract my statement, but when I revealed jumping off a building as my trump card, the principal immediately dared not act recklessly. He didn't want to be dragged down and end up ruined together with Director Sue. The principal immediately reprimanded him. "You're talking nonsense. That's not what I meant. You lack professional ethics and are unfit for your duties. I will cooperate with the Education Bureau in reviewing you. Until then, you will be suspended from work for a period of time." Just as Director Sue was about to say something more, the principal impatiently waved his hand and had someone drag him away. Then the principal asked me, "Now, can you agree to clarify things for the school?" I nodded once. "Yes, this matter itself has nothing to do with the school. It's just one bad apple spoiling the whole barrel. With only 5 days left until the college entrance exam, transferring schools at this point is no longer an option. To successfully complete the exam, I can only temporarily appease the principal for now." Seeing that I agreed, the principal breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Studentchen, I have high hopes for you. I'm sure you'll achieve excellent results." I climbed down from the windowsill and nodded obediently. "Thank you, Principal. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave now." After leaving the principal's office, I quietly pressed the pause button on the voice recorder in my pocket. This might come in handy later. After Director Sue was suspended, I ran into him as he was leaving the school in disgrace when I left after evening self-study. When he saw me, he couldn't help but glare at me. "You're ruthless." I walked out of the school gate without saying a word. My goal had been achieved now. He was going to be finished. There was no need for me to provoke him any further. As I walked out of the school gate, my mother personally came to pick me up on her little electric scooter. I got on the back seat, and we rode off into the distance. "Your dad transferred 200,000 to a woman named Su Jiao. She's a divorced female colleague from his workplace who's been married 3 times. What should I do now?" My mom was trembling with anger as she said this. "File a lawsuit, go to court, and get a divorce. I remember the lawyer Chin you brought me today is very good at divorce cases. Mom, let's trouble him again. First gather evidence, transfer the remaining money in the account to my account to prevent him from finding an excuse to freeze it, then sue the mistress to return the marital property, and finally divorce him. Catching your dad completely off guard. I'll stand by your side. I'm all ready." 18. So there's no issue of custody battle. The court will ask for my opinion, and I'll definitely choose to stay with you. Once I get into a good university, you can come with me to another city and leave this heartbreaking place. I immediately gave her a reassurance, promising I would always stand by her side. "All right, I'll divorce him." My mom nodded, hugging me tightly. For her, I am her greatest emotional support. Although my dad's betrayal has made her very sad, at least she's still Hasmi, I'll give you a good life from now on. I let her hold me for a while, and then she made me a late-night snack. While eating, I continued studying for my exams. As for the online comments, I haven't checked them. When I just went upstairs, I had already returned my phone to my cousin who lives downstairs. He'll keep an eye on the online comments for me. Right now, I just need to calm down and focus on preparing for my exams. In the early hours of the morning, I had just fallen asleep when I heard my dad opening the door from the living room. My mom, following my instructions, held her temper and didn't argue with him. She made up an excuse for him to sleep on the floor in the living room. My dad was all over with perfume at that time, not knowing how to explain to my mom, so he hurriedly took a shower. When he came out, he found the door was closed and a thin blanket was placed on the sofa. After muttering a few curses, he lay down. That night, I couldn't sleep well, tossing and turning, because of my rebirth, and also because of my dad. Since I couldn't sleep, I just got up and started doing exercises, continuing until 5 in the morning when I finally felt a bit drowsy. At 6:30, my mom woke me up on time to go to school. When my mom took me to school, my dad was still sleeping in the living room like a dead pig. My mom thought for a moment, his coming home so late every day easily affected my rest, and their divorce drama could easily interfere with my studies. My mom said, "I'll get you a phone later and put some money in it. After tomorrow, school will be on vacation and you'll have to go home by yourself to review. I'm planning to book you a hotel room near the exam site so you can focus on studying without any disturbance. No one will interrupt your college entrance exam. Is that okay?" I nodded, deeply touched by her thoughtfulness. "Thank you, Mom." At the school gate, I ran into Sue Rand's parents. The matter had finally come to light. Sue Rand hadn't returned home yesterday. Faced with their questioning, her grandmother finally revealed everything. Upon learning their daughter had been detained and might miss the college entrance exam, they immediately contacted Director Sue, hoping he would intervene and help persuade me to let Sue Ran off the hook. However, no one answered the phone. Sue Ran's parents quickly contacted the school again, and after much effort reached the principal, saying, "This matter has already become a trending topic online. Director Sue has already fallen. Don't come and harm me. I have nothing to do with it." It turned out that less than half an hour after Director Sue returned home last night, he was taken away by personnel from the Education Bureau for investigation. It wasn't just about abusing power for personal gain, but also about his personal conduct and corruption issues. It's still unclear how long the investigation will last, but he has already been detained, and it's estimated that the next step won't just be suspension. Only then did Sue Rand's parents realized the situation was more serious than they had imagined. Before Sue's father came to the school to block me, he originally wanted to call Zhou Chen's father, but under his family's advice, Zhou's father decided to handle the matter coldly, and warned him, "Don't provoke that young girl. Right now, she's a hot potato. Anyone who messes with her will be in trouble. My son made a mistake, and I accept responsibility." Now both of our hotels have been affected, and last night's customer traffic dropped significantly, but as long as I say nothing and do nothing, the impact of this incident will gradually fade away. It won't affect me much, and my son will still be able to study abroad later. His future won't be greatly impacted either. Zhou's father was wealthy and arrogant, but he wasn't stupid. He listened to advice, otherwise he wouldn't have built such a large fortune. But Dad Sue thought I was just a little girl, and as long as he pulled the moral high ground card, his daughter taking the college entrance exam might still have a chance. He didn't listen to Dad Joe. As soon as they saw me at the school gate, the couple knelt down. "Please forgive Sue Ren just this once. She knows she was wrong." I didn't feel sorry for them, nor did I indulge them. In my previous life, when I had my hands crippled, who had ever shown me sympathy? I directly borrowed my mom's phone, turned on the video recording function, and pointed it at the two kneeling on the ground. Many people online are asking for updates. "Thank you for providing fresh material for my cousin's account." They were taken aback, apparently not expecting me to be completely immune to such tactics. As soon as Mom Sue realized what was happening, she scrambled up and tried to snatch my mom's phone. I had been prepared for this and stepped back immediately to dodge her, shouting loudly, "Your daughter isn't just wrong. She knows she's about to miss the college entrance exam. If she had succeeded yesterday, would it have been my hands that were ruined? Didn't she think about the consequences before doing this? She knew full well, she just didn't care, disregarding other people's lives, exploiting Zhou Chen's deep feelings for her. She's nothing but a cold, selfish monster. Instead of coming here to guilt-trip me, go home and prepare for her retake next year." After saying this, I threw the phone back to my mom and quickly walked into school. They wanted to follow, but were stopped by The security guard at the entrance. This is a school, outsiders are not allowed in. The two of them wanted to go and pester my mom, hoping she would help talk some sense into them, but my mom had already ridden off on her little electric scooter. After my dad woke up, he learned about what happened yesterday through a phone call from a colleague. He immediately called to argue with my mom. How could you not tell me about something this big? My mom no longer indulged him. What would telling you have done? Could you have stopped Zhou Chen from abusing our daughter? My dad said, we can't afford to offend Mr. Zhou's son. Call Xu Yao right away and ask for leave for her, then have her sign the settlement agreement immediately and bail Mr. Zhou's son out. As expected, my father only cared about interests. My mom felt very chilled by that, and was glad she hadn't told him anything last night. My mom snorted coldly. If you dare do that, I'll go straight to the entrance of your hotel and hang a banner saying the Zhou family is wealthy but heartless, and that they've let their son run wild and commit violence. Let's see whether you'll still be able to keep your job. My dad immediately fell silent. Work was his soft spot. Without that job, he was nothing. After hanging up, my mom went to see lawyer Chen about the divorce lawsuit and getting back the 200,000 yuan Su Jiaojiao had in her hands. After I was forced to help the school clear things up, the netizens still didn't buy it. It feels like student Chen was probably threatened by the school. This doesn't sound like her usual style. A scumbag like Zhou Chen being able to get into this school means this school can't be that great anyway. I still want to know more inside information about the school. Damn, explosive insider info. The second place boy in this school's grade is spilling the tea live. Go check it out. Someone provided the live stream link. And when I clicked in, the content was extremely explosive. It was the boy who often ranked second in his grade who exposed this himself in his live stream room. According to him, because he often scored second place in the entire grade, he had long been subjected to Zhou Chen's violent abuse, including having urine poured on his head and lit tissues thrown into his backpack, which caused him minor burns, and so on. In the past few days, he was also threatened not to go to school or take the college entrance examination, otherwise they would cripple both his hands. Terrified, he stayed at home and dared not go to school. Of course, this was also directed by Su Ran. He kept many recordings, but before, because he feared retaliation, he did not dare to bring them out. After yesterday's live stream, he felt that he should also stand up and speak out for himself. It turns out I'm not the only victim of Zhou Chen's violent abuse. He was also threatened with having both hands crippled, was also directed by Su Ran, and it also involved long-term campus bullying. The student also said, once this live stream is over, I'm going to call the police. After watching his live stream, many netizens were filled with righteous indignation. Is this still a school? This is Zhou Chen's territory, isn't it? He can do whatever he wants, and the school won't do anything about it. The dean of the academic affairs office is Su Ran's uncle. How could he possibly discipline him? They're in cahoots. The school is truly rotten to the core. I absolutely won't let my child be assigned to attend high school here. As a result, the school's official website was flooded, and the Education Bureau launched an investigation into the school overnight. The two hotels owned by Zhou Chen's family were pelted with rotten eggs and vegetables by angry netizens. Su Ran's parents were also doxxed because of this. Many people believed that since they raised a daughter like Su Ran, they were unfit to be educators. They demanded that Mrs. Su's education institution be ordered to suspend operations for rectification, and that Mr. Su should also be suspended from his position. However, this was like a breach in a dam, and once it started, it could not be stopped. A bully couldn't possibly have bullied just one person. I was not the last one, and that male classmate was not the first. As the male classmate stepped forward voluntarily, several more classmates gradually came forward with revelations. Someone commented, Su Ran is the class beauty, I am the school beauty. Just because of this, she envied me, and had Zhou Chen deliberately trip me up, trying to make me fall onto broken glass and get disfigured. Luckily I dodged it. Someone held up their ID card and cried bitterly in a video. Zhou Chen forced me to help him deliver things to Su Ran every day, but I'm not an errand boy. I'm a student. I came to school to study, not to run errands. I dared to be angry but couldn't speak up. If I refused, he would lead others to bully me. Others said that when Su Ran was running against someone else for class leadership, in order to win, she slandered her deskmate for theft, and Director Su, without investigating the truth, publicly criticized that student over the school broadcast, causing that student to become depressed and drop out. Such incidents are countless, and students' dissatisfaction with them has accumulated for a long time, with explosive revelations coming one after another. Now it's not just Director Su, even the principal is very likely to be suspended. I took the opportunity to anonymously post online the recording from that night in the principal's office, in which they had threatened me. The principal was indeed negligent. In my previous life, I had been slandered and beaten like that, yet the principal blindly sided with Su-ran and Jo-chin, suppressing the matter completely. A principal like that should have been removed long ago. On my last day going to school for classes, I heard that the principal had been replaced overnight, and the new principal was already on the way to take office. Director Su's position had also been taken over by the newly appointed director. They don't want to work hard. Naturally, someone is willing to take their place. After finishing the last day of classes, I went back to the hotel and shut myself in to review thoroughly. My mom occasionally comes over to bring me some delicious food. She told me that all the assets under my dad's name have been frozen. The documents to Su Jiaojiao are all ready, and the court will soon accept the case. I nodded and said, "It's okay, take your time. After I finish the college entrance exam, I'll help you deal with all this together." My mom sighed and said, "You had such a good family, but your dad doesn't cherish it, and there's nothing I can do. Luckily, all the marital assets have now been transferred to your account, and your dad can't touch them. Next, it's a matter of filing a lawsuit and negotiating privately to see how the property will ultimately be divided. Your dad has already agreed to the divorce." I didn't know what to say to her, so all I could do was study hard for the exams. Over the next few days, I turned off my phone and didn't go out, focusing quietly on my studies. On the day of the college entrance exam, my mom specially accompanied me to the exam site, and along the way we ran into many classmates and parents. Only then did I learn that Su-ran and Jo-chin were jointly sued by many parents for suspected school violence, including my mom. This time it's no longer just simple detention, they might actually end up in jail. Jo-chin was completely unfazed. Like a dead pig doesn't fear boiling water, he thought as long as his family had money, after serving a few months in jail, he'd come out again as the same aloof young master. But Su-ran broke down. If convicted, she would have a criminal record. Even if she repeated her grade, she wouldn't be able to enroll in the education-related major she wanted. All her parents' connections in the education industry would become useless to her from then on. She cried every day in detention, saying she was wrong, but no one softened their hearts just because she admitted her mistake. She wasn't wrong, she knew she was finished. After entering the examination hall, I pushed those matters aside and focused on the college entrance exam. In my previous life, I failed to take the college entrance exam and felt deeply regretful, so I kept practicing writing answers with my feet at home my whole life. As a result, I've long mastered these exam questions, and now I can solve them fluently, quickly, and with high accuracy. When the two-day college entrance exam ended, many parents were standing at the exam site holding flowers to pick up their children. My mom was no exception. She was holding a bouquet of sunflowers, waving at me from afar. "Shuyo, over here." The setting sun spilled over her, giving her entire figure a soft golden outline. I walked over quickly, took the flowers, and hugged her. "Mom, I'm done with the exam. I think I did pretty well." She patted my head and said with a smile, "Mom has some good news for you too. Su Jiaojiao has already voluntarily returned that 200,000 yuan, and she's even been urging your dad to hurry up and divorce me, because she seems to be pregnant. Now, in order to get the divorce as soon as possible, your dad should be willing to make concessions in the division of assets. This child came at the same time in my previous life too. My dad thought he was the son he had long dreamed of. In fact, Su Jiaojiao did give birth to a son, but that son wasn't his. It was Su Jiaojiao's child with someone else. In my last life, my dad raised someone else's child for 2 or 3 years before learning the truth, and he was so furious he coughed up blood. But in this life, I don't plan to expose Su Jiaojiao. I'll let him keep raising another man's son. Only then will he be willing to let go and let me take my mom away." I bought a bouquet of lotus flowers by the roadside and handed it to her. "Mom, I wish you a rebirth." A few days later, in order to get the divorce finalized sooner, my dad proactively gave in on the property division. The two of them immediately went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register their divorce, and a month later they officially received their divorce certificate. I also went on the day they registered for divorce. My dad looked at me expressionlessly, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. "You're really something, helping your mom come after me." I sneered in response, "Not as capable as you, stealing marital joint savings to spend on Su Jiaojiao, and even getting a mistress pregnant. Oh, and I heard your hotel is doing especially badly right now and laying people off. Are you on the list?" He didn't say anything, because he was. When I left with my mom, he opened his mouth toward my back, wanting to say a few words of symbolic concern, but ended up saying nothing. He believed his choice was right. Even if I could achieve outstanding results, what difference would it make? I wasn't a boy, and I couldn't carry on his family line. Compared to me, he only cared about the male fetus in Su Jiaojiao's belly. Even though I had excellent grades, was an adult, and was his daughter whom he had watched grow up, in his eyes, I still couldn't compare to that tiny embryo. 15 days later, I received a phone call from the Education Bureau. Congratulations, student Chen, you are this year's top scorer in science in our city. Ranked third in the entire province, you've truly brought honor to our city, top scorer in science in our city. When those words were linked together, my tears burst out uncontrollably. This was a dream that had been utterly beyond my reach in my previous life after my hands were crippled. I once thought that as long as I could get first place in the school, I would be satisfied, and now he was telling me that I was the top scorer in the city. I had always wanted to prove through the college entrance examination that I was no worse than those boys. I wanted to show my father, who favored sons over daughters, just how capable I was, and in this life, after going through countless events, I finally did it. Seeing me so excited that tears streamed down my face, my mom immediately became anxious. Did the school call? How is it? What's your ranking in the whole school? It's okay even if you failed the exam, you've already tried your best, we can always retake it, I'll pay for it. She has always been so tolerant and loving towards me. I smiled and shook my head, choking up as I said, I didn't fail, I ranked third in the entire province, without Jochin and Suran sabotaging me. This time I finally proved myself. My mom hugged me immediately after hearing the news, trembling all over with excitement. Third in the province, daughter, you're amazing, mom is proud of you. Soon, the admissions offices of Tsinghua and Peking University called, and so did several other top universities in China. They all extended olive branches to me, inviting me to apply to their schools. My high school homeroom teacher and the newly appointed principal also called one after another to congratulate me and asked me to come to the school for media interviews. When I arrived, many reporters immediately surrounded me. Classmate Shin, could you share some of your study tips? Classmate Shin, do you have anything you want to say to those classmates who bullied and hurt you? I thought about it, and I really did. I want to tell everyone that there are no shortcuts to studying. The only way is to work harder than others. Jochin, Suran, and everyone who once wanted to trample me into the mud. This time, I won. I didn't win easily. In fact, it was very hard, but I know I will keep moving forward forever, even if the path ahead is full of thorns. Hearing these words, Suran, watching TV far away in the detention center, turned ashen with rage. It's over. Completely over. Her life was in complete disarray, while mine was shining brightly. Jochin looked at me on TV, full of confidence, and became very silent because of the things he did, which caused public outrage. His father's previously hidden deeds were brought to light, such as tax evasion and accidentally killing a passerby while drunk. Like father, like son, he's so violent because he learned it from his dad. Their family's hotel business, after his father was arrested, collapsed completely, quickly becoming insolvent. Both hotels will be auctioned off by the court at the end of the month, with the proceeds used to settle debts and pay employees' salaries. If the Zhou family goes bankrupt, it means Jochin will become a penniless beggar in the future. He won't be able to act recklessly anymore, relying on his family's wealth. When he learned that I had become the top scorer in the city, my father suddenly changed his expression. He rarely came home, and when he did, he was always kind and smiling. He said to me with a smile, as long as you promise to sever all ties with your mother, I'll cover all your living expenses and tuition fees. In the future, I can even give you half of my assets. From childhood to adulthood, he had never cared about me. Even when my grandparents called me a worthless good-for-nothing, he never once stood up for me. Now that I've grown up and made something of myself, he wants to come reap the rewards. Too late. I gave my mom a reassuring look, then said coldly to him, absolutely impossible. My mom will always be my mom, and wherever I go to school, I'll take her with me. As for living expenses and tuition, my mom says she'll pay for my college. You don't need to worry about it. And after I topped the citywide exam, a certain company said they'd reward me 150,000 yuan. That money would be enough to cover my living expenses for several years of college. Keep your assets for your precious little mistress and son instead. After all, the one in her belly is the son you value most. Seeing me so ungrateful, my dad wasn't annoyed. Instead, he changed the subject and said, Dad wants to throw you a celebratory banquet for your college admission. Just show up on time then. I'll prepare a beautiful dress for you, using my name to host a banquet and line your own pockets. Why should I agree? I refused him. I don't need a celebration banquet. I won't attend. If you really want to hold one, save it for the future when you can throw it for the baby in Su Jiaojiao's belly. We parted ways unhappily, and more than 10 days later, he officially divorced my mom. 5 days After my mom received the divorce certificate, she finally got most of the shared assets, including this apartment and $500,000 in savings, plus another $100,000 recovered from Su Jiajiu as marital property. Previously, $1 million in shared savings had been transferred to my account, $500,000 went to my mom, $500,000 to him. Then, the $100,000 he recovered from Su Jiajiu was immediately transferred by him, combined with his $500,000, to pay the down payment for a new apartment. After learning that I had decided to attend Qingbei, my mom sold that house and came with me to Jing City. Housing in Jing City was too expensive, so we rented an apartment. She found a job as a cashier here, and during summer vacation I also worked part-time in a milk tea shop. Life became easy and full of hope on the other side. After Zhou Chen and Su Ran were formally indicted, the case finally reached the day of its first court hearing. When the trial began, my mom and I made a special trip over to attend the hearing as one of the plaintiffs. Given that Zhou Chen had multiple prior offenses and behaved extremely, he was ultimately sentenced to 2 years in prison. Su Ran, as the mastermind behind multiple campus violence incidents, was also sentenced to 2 years. At that moment, she was utterly devastated. 2 years. 2 years from now I'll be 20. How many 2 years does a person's life even have? 2 years later, by the time she gets out of prison, she'll probably have forgotten most of what she learned in high school, so repeating the year won't be of much use anymore. However, no matter how much she cried and pleaded, she still could not change the outcome of being sentenced to 2 years in prison. Zhou Chen said nothing. He lowered his head and was taken away in silence. He was neither unconvinced nor unwilling. He had already become completely numb to it. His mother made it clear that she was cutting off their mother-son relationship, resenting him for dragging down both her and the family business, and for bringing shame upon them. His father's case would go to trial soon as well, and by then, perhaps father and son would meet again behind bars. My hatred finally faded away as they were sentenced, and from then on I could finally focus on living my own quiet little life. 9 months later, I got a call from my dad. He said, "Your younger brother has been born. Do you want to come back and see him?" I refused. I don't have a younger brother. Your son is not my younger brother. Only someone born from my mom's belly counts as my younger brother. My dad still wouldn't give up. Years later, when I was already in graduate school, he called me again. "Dad's been feeling a bit unwell lately, and I'm worried that when I'm old, your younger brother won't have anyone to take care of him. In the future, could you take my place and look after him? In his past life, he kicked me when I was down. How could I possibly agree to take care of that bastard child for him?" I refused again. "He's your son. Take good care of him yourself." A few years later, after finishing my master's degree, I finally started working. I got a job at a research institution, and the pay and benefits were both excellent. When my dad called this time, he was already close to the end. He said, "The doctor says I only have 3 months left to live. There's only one thing I can't let go of. Your younger brother is only in his teens. What will happen to him in the future? Can you help take care of him? Please, I'm begging you." I finally told him the truth. "But he doesn't look anything like you. Are you sure he's really your son? Go get a DNA test. Don't end up raising someone else's son." My dad was so angry he started coughing. "Nonsense. How could that be? He's my son." So I deliberately contradicted him. "He's not your son at all. I've already looked into it. When Su Jiajiu was with you, she was also dating several other men at the same time, one surnamed Chen, one surnamed Hu, and another surnamed Zheng. I think your son looks more like the one surnamed Hu." My dad's voice turned hoarse when he heard that. "He's my son's godfather. He came over especially often, and I thought he was just getting along well with me. So it turns out, after thinking carefully, what was there he still didn't understand." Just as I was about to hang up, my dad was gasping in anger on the other end. "So you knew about this all along and deliberately didn't tell me, keeping me in the dark? Why, I'm your father," I said mercilessly, "so I could make you end up with nothing. You don't like me, or even hate me, just because I'm a girl. Then why should I care whether you live or die?" There was a long silence on the other end. Long after that, he hung up the phone himself. About 2 months later, I received the news of his death. After he died, he left no money behind, only a property. Before he died, in order to keep Su Jiajiu and the bastard from getting his property, he donated the house to a charity. He hated me too. He would rather donate it than give the money to me, but I didn't care at all. That house still had decades of mortgage payments left, and I had never coveted it in the first place. I didn't care. Su Jiajiu wanted it, seeing how heartless he was, leaving nothing for her. Su Jiajiu directly threw his urn into the trash can. She even changed the bastard's surname. She changed it, and I Changed mine too. Her son changed his surname to Su, and I changed mine to my mother's surname. From now on, my surname is Chen, and my name is Chen Shuyao. The family line of my dad's side ended with me. It can be considered completely cut off. Someone so selfish and cold-hearted deserves such an ending. Later, at a class reunion, I saw Su Ran. I heard that what happened back then caused quite a stir. Her father lost his job because of it, and her mother's training institute had already shut down. That same year, her family went from the middle class to ordinary common people in one fell swoop. Her father tried his hand at business, but it didn't work out and he lost a bit of money. After that, he taught at a rural middle school. Her mother now runs a small mahjong and card room. They have no problem getting by, but the glory of the past is gone. After she was released from prison, she didn't choose to repeat a year. Her spirit had already broken, and she couldn't bring herself to study anymore. Without any academic qualifications, she could only take jobs that didn't require skills and didn't involve background checks. She tried making milk tea, doing borderline live streaming, selling goods on the street, and delivering food. She tried every line of work, but never stayed in any of them for long, because once someone recognized her as the girl who had once been infamous for bullying others, the class beauty who had caused a stir back then, she could no longer keep the job. She couldn't stand people pointing and whispering about her. So she had to choose a new job on her own, and now, when she appeared in front of me, she looked much older than others her age. Someone asked her about Zhouchen. Su Ran, Zhouchen was so devoted to you back then. Did you two end up getting married? Do you have children? At the mention of this, Su Ran looked blank. We got married, and we have a child, but I'm not happy at all. An insider quietly told me, after they were released from prison that year, Su Ran originally wanted to dump Zhouchen, but Zhouchen, having had his future ruined by her, strongly demanded that she take responsibility for him and date him. If Su Ran refused, he would disable both of her hands and die with her. I hadn't expected there to be such a twist. The boomerang had actually come back and hit Su Ran herself. Unable to wait, I asked quietly about the follow-up, and then what happened. She agreed. That doesn't sound like her, an insider said. At first she refused, but Zhouchen kept harassing her family every day. He would show up drunk in the middle of the night and knock on her door, scaring her mother terribly. Later, when she really couldn't shake him off, she tried dating Zhouchen. After the two started dating, Zhouchen was afraid she would leave him, so he tampered with the contraceptives. She got pregnant before marriage, and with Zhouchen proposing to her parents, her family agreed. The two have been married for several years and have a son. But after the marriage, Zhouchen realized he had her firmly tied down, and he began to show his true colors. Whenever something didn't go his way, he beat her and took out his anger on her. Friends at school who were close to her said there wasn't a single good patch of skin on her body. Now Zhouchen doesn't go out to work every day either. He just stays home and waits for her to support the family. Her income isn't high, and she's living in utter misery. That's pretty miserable, and it's karma too. She used to order Zhouchen around to bully classmates, but now Zhouchen bullies her alone, and she's finally had enough. Since the tables were far apart, and she saw that I was dressed beautifully, she didn't take the initiative to come over and talk to me. She thought that would only be humiliating herself. By the time this meal was almost over, I heard Zhouchen call her. From so far away, I could still hear Zhouchen's roar. What time is it? Why haven't you come back to make dinner for the two of us, you bitch? Are you trying to starve the two of us to death? She quickly explained. I didn't mean it. It's a class reunion today. Who would have thought that? After hearing this, Zhouchen got even angrier. A class reunion, and you didn't call me. Do you think I'd embarrass you? Just wait until you get home, then I'll deal with you. Su Ran was so frightened that her face turned pale, but she didn't dare resist. She stood up and hurriedly said goodbye to her classmates before leaving. Later, I rarely returned to my hometown, and never ran into her and Zhouchen again. I only heard that they later had a period when they were getting divorced. Zhouchen beat her terribly. For the sake of the child, she mustered up the courage to ask for a divorce and took the child to hide in the township where her father worked, and she didn't come back for a long time after that. There was no more news about her and Zhouchen. I suppose their life probably wasn't going very well either, and when I was 35, I received a very prestigious academic award. My life was still shining brightly, growing farther and farther ahead, leaving those rotten people and rotten things far behind me. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My sister-in-law did not follow the doctor's orders. The doctor repeatedly emphasized that the patient must fast and refrain from drinking water for 24 hours before the general anesthesia surgery. She still secretly fed My nephew milk and grilled chicken wings. After I found out, I informed my colleague who was the lead surgeon. Although the surgery was postponed for a week, it went very smoothly, and my nephew recovered his health. Years later, my nephew, physically exhausted, fainted in the college entrance examination hall, but then my sister-in-law suddenly said, "It's all your aunt's fault. If she hadn't meddled back then and delayed your surgery, it wouldn't have affected your physical condition." Hearing this, my nephew held a grudge. He knocked me out with a shovel and buried me alive. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the time before my nephew's surgery. At this time, seeing the food residue around my nephew's mouth, I chose to look the other way. The patient hasn't eaten, right? This surgery requires general anesthesia, so no food or water for 24 hours before the procedure, before the surgery. My nephew's attending doctor repeatedly confirmed with my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law quickly hid her hands behind her back and replied with a guilty expression, "No, he hasn't eaten." My nephew also quickly covered his mouth and shook his head. Dr. Jack grew suspicious when he saw my sister-in-law's guilty expression. "Are you sure you didn't eat it? This is no joke." My sister-in-law still shook her head firmly. "I really didn't eat it." Then, noticing me nearby, she pointed at me and said, "If you don't believe me, ask Linda. The same scene happened in my previous life." I saw my sister-in-law's greasy hands hidden behind her back and my nephew covering his mouth, guessing that she had secretly given him something to eat, so I truthfully told Dr. Jack. Dr. Jack immediately decided to postpone the surgery, but my sister-in-law thought Dr. Jack and I were making a fuss over nothing. Adults can go a day without eating, but how can a child possibly endure it? You're making him fast for 24 hours, isn't that just asking for him to develop stomach problems? The surgery will take several hours. How is Harry supposed to get through it without eating? Besides, I didn't give him water, I gave him milk. Dr. Jack was very angry. You're not supposed to eat before general anesthesia in the first place, and especially since your son is having gastrointestinal surgery, it's crucial to strictly avoid food and water, otherwise, it's very dangerous. Not only could it cause reflux and aspiration, but it could also lead to infection, although my sister-in-law still didn't think it was a big deal. Dr. Jack was very insistent, so she had no choice but to let the surgery be postponed. However, the surgery schedule was very tight recently, so in the end, my nephew had to be rescheduled for a week later. When my nephew had the surgery again, I kept a close watch to make sure my sister-in-law didn't secretly feed him any food. The nephew's surgery went smoothly, and he quickly recovered his health. I always felt that I had saved my nephew's life and deserved my sister-in-law's gratitude. But unexpectedly, during the college entrance exam, my nephew fainted in the exam hall due to physical exhaustion, leaving 2 major questions unanswered and missing the chance to qualify for undergraduate studies. While everyone was comforting him, my sister-in-law said, "Actually, it's all your aunt's fault. If she hadn't interfered back then, causing your surgery to be delayed, which led to poor surgical results and affected your physical condition, you would definitely have gotten into a good university." I thought no one would believe such a far-fetched excuse, but to my surprise, my nephew took it to heart and even held a deep grudge against me. Later, when I wasn't paying attention, he knocked me out and dragged me outside to bury me alive. At one point, I woke up and struggled, but all I got in return was blow after blow of the shovel, and handful after handful of mud and soil. I died of suffocation while fully conscious. Fortunately, heaven has eyes, and I was reborn. This time, I decided to let go of the savior complex and respect others' fate, so I threw my hands up in resignation. Why ask me? I'm not his mother. In the end, Dr. Jack had no choice but to trust the sister-in-law's words and had Harry wheeled into the operating room. As expected, the surgery failed. During the surgery, Harry indeed experienced reflux and aspiration, where the vomit was inhaled into his lungs, leading to aspiration pneumonia. Not only that, but he also developed an infection and nearly died on the operating table. Although Dr. Jack performed a timely rescue, and he was out of life-threatening danger, he was left with a permanent health issue, becoming someone who relies on medication constantly. After the incident, my sister-in-law not only failed to reflect on herself but also blamed the entire matter on Dr. Jack. "It's all because of you, this quack doctor, who has made my son like this. I won't let this go. You owe me a healthy son." Dr. Jack, who is usually a gentle and refined person, was trembling with anger at this moment. Before the surgery, I repeatedly emphasized that you absolutely must not eat, absolutely must not eat. Who told you to secretly eat and not report it truthfully? In all my years of performing surgeries, I have never encountered such an accident. There was no way sister-in-law would listen. She was convinced that it was Dr. Jack's lack of medical skill. You only ate such a small amount of food, how big of a problem could it be? It Must be your lack of skill that caused the surgery to go wrong." She was about to rush over and hit Dr. Jack, but I quickly stopped her. She then turned her anger toward me. "And you, it's all because of this quack you recommended. I get it now. Did you deliberately have him treat Harry like this? You're jealous that I can have a son, so you want to ruin Harry, you vicious, wicked woman. I'm not done with you." Watching her hysterical behavior, I was utterly disgusted. Before the surgery, Dr. Jack repeatedly confirmed with you whether Harry had eaten anything, and you insisted that he hadn't. If only you had told the truth back then, Harry wouldn't have to rely on medication for the rest of his life. Now that something has happened, you're quick to shift the blame onto others. Kathy, you sure know how to play your cards right. Just then, my brother, who had returned from a long-distance trip, also rushed to the hospital immediately. When Kathy saw him, it was like seeing a lifeline. She ran over and exaggerated the story, making a big fuss. My brother is naturally impulsive, and after hearing it, he completely lost his temper. He rushed over and started hitting Dr. Jack. Dr. Jack was beaten until his nose bled. I went to break up the fight and got punched by my brother too. Fortunately, other colleagues in the hospital called the police, and they quickly came to take my brother and sister-in-law away. Dr. Jack and I also went to the police station to give our statements. At the police station, Kathy was still blaming Dr. Jack and me. Dr. Jack, however, presented a pile of evidence proving that he had explained the preoperative precautions, which even had my sister-in-law's signature. Kathy still wanted to argue, but my brother finally understood. He loses his temper without any restraint and punched Kathy twice right in front of the police. "So it was you, this foolish woman, who harmed Harry like this." Kathy touched her swollen face and cried out loudly, "How dare you hit me? How was I supposed to know that eating just a little of that would be so serious? I didn't do it on purpose. Harry is my son. Would I intentionally harm him?" The farce finally came to an end, but my brother was placed under administrative detention for a few days because of the incident with Dr. Jack. Back at the hospital, when my parents heard about it, they also made sarcastic remarks about Kathy, saying how could we have married such a troublemaker. In the past, Kathy was very proud because she gave birth to the only son in the Cruz family and my parents had always treated her well, but this was the first time they gave her the cold shoulder. She felt so wrong that she didn't even care about Harry lying in the hospital bed and went home alone. As soon as she left, my mother said to me, "Linda, Harry is in such a state now that he needs someone to take care of him here. Your father and I are too old to handle it, so you should stay and look after him. You're a doctor, so you'll definitely be more attentive." I remembered how in my previous life, my parents had clearly seen that it was Harry who had buried me alive, but because they favored their only grandson, they turned a blind eye. Without a second thought, I refused. "Mom and Dad, my brother punched me, and I'm feeling very dizzy now. What if I faint in the middle of the night when Harry needs help? It's better for the two of you to stay and keep an eye on him." As I spoke, I pretended to be on the verge of fainting. They had no choice but to let me go. As soon as I stepped out of the hospital room, I immediately dropped the act. In this lifetime, I will no longer be the fool who lets them take whatever they want. The next day, at work, I saw my parents looking utterly exhausted. I knew Harry's condition was very serious now, and the person taking care of him had to stay awake all night, giving him water and cleaning his urine bag, with no time to rest at all. When they saw me, they were ready to use the same old trick again, making me take on the responsibility of caring for Harry. I remembered how in my previous life, I spent both money and effort to raise Harry, only for him to bury me alive over such an unfounded reason. This kind of ungrateful wretch. I will never put my heart into caring for him again, so I made up another excuse and turned them down. They had no choice but to call Kathy again. "You're Harry's biological mother. Who else should take care of him if not you? Besides, you're the one who got him into this state. If you refuse to take responsibility, we'll make Sam divorce you." Shortly after hanging up, Kathy arrived looking listless. My parents quickly made excuses and slipped away. I can't help but laugh. They usually call him good grandson all the time, but now that he needs them, they're all running away faster than ever. When Kathy was here taking care of Harry, she did nothing well except cry and complain every day. Either she forgot to change Harry's urine bag, causing it to overflow and make a mess all over the bed, or she was too busy scrolling on her phone while Harry was on an IV drip and failed to call the nurse in time to remove the needle, allowing air to enter his bloodstream. In short, under her care, Harry's recovery slowed down even more. Harry has been in the hospital for a long time, and the daily expenses are flowing like water. The money my brother earns is quickly running out. They turned their attention to me again. "Linda, you're Harry's aunt, you can't just stand by and watch him run out of money for treatment, can you? You're a doctor, and you earn much more than your brother. You have to help Harry. I sneered inwardly. Did they think they could use my identity as his aunt to guilt me into sacrificing everything for him again, just like in my previous life? Not so easy this time. I pretended to be troubled. Mom and Dad, you know, I've only been working for a year. I haven't even finished paying off my student loans with this year's salary yet. I really don't have a single penny to spare. When I was in college, they didn't give me tuition fees, claiming it was to cultivate my independence, but in reality, they used all the money to buy a house for my brother. I took out loans for all 4 years of my undergraduate studies and my graduate school tuition. Actually, I did some part-time jobs during those years of studying, and I had already paid off the loans long ago. But I would never use my hard-earned money on that ungrateful Harry. My parents felt guilty deep down and didn't dare bring up the matter of me giving money again. I took the opportunity to persuade them to sell my brother's house. When Kathy found out, she was furious and said, "No way, under no circumstances can we sell the house. The house is my lifeline. I won't allow it. If you ask me, Harry's condition isn't serious at all. The hospital is just trying to scam money. I have a folk remedy from my hometown that can definitely cure Harry. Let's check out of the hospital and treat him ourselves." She kept objecting, completely unaware of Harry's gloomy expression. Finally, due to her persistence, Harry was discharged from the hospital before his condition was under control. That evening, when I went to see Harry, he asked me, "Auntie, was it really my mom who caused my surgery to fail?" I sighed and said, back then, Dr. Jack and I repeatedly warned your mother not to give you any food, but she insisted it wasn't a problem. I don't know what she was thinking. Originally, selling the house could have given you a good chance of recovery. It's a shame. The house was just too important in your mother's eyes. Seeing Harry's gloomy face and the hatred in his eyes, I knew that the seed of hatred had finally taken root in his heart. After Harry returned home, all the relatives came to visit him. Seeing him so ill, they all urged Kathy and my brother to send him back to the hospital. However, Kathy paid no attention to their advice, saying that doctors always exaggerate things, and she even claimed to have a good folk remedy that would surely cure him completely. One of the relatives muttered under their breath, "Don't let it get worse by delaying, or it might be too late to treat." Kathy immediately scolded the relative harshly, accusing her of cursing her precious son. The relatives were so angry that they got up and left, never coming to visit again. After that day, Kathy truly did as she said and searched everywhere for alternative treatments for Harry. Today, he's given herbal medicine. Tomorrow, he's forced to drink talisman water. Whatever others claim can cure him, she buys without a doubt and feeds it to Harry. But Harry already suffers from gastrointestinal issues, with his digestive system already extremely weak. Those so-called folk remedies she pours into him not only fail to provide any therapeutic effect but instead worsen Harry's condition. My brother was originally skeptical about her folk remedies, but he had to drive frequently and couldn't always be at home to keep an eye on things. As soon as he left, Kathy would start force-feeding Harry the medicine again. My parents always believed that there was no need to go to the hospital for illnesses, just take some medicine at home. Wasn't that how their generation managed to get by? So not only did they not stop Kathy, they even helped her collect folk remedies from everywhere. A month later, when I saw Harry again, I realized he had become so thin that he was almost unrecognizable. His hair was dry and yellow, his eye sockets were sunken, and he looked even older than my father. As soon as I got home, he pleaded with me for help. "Auntie, can you please persuade my mom to send me back to the hospital? I'm in so much pain. I'm in pain every day. Please save me, Auntie." He gets so worked up that he starts coughing non-stop, his whole body curling into a ball. To be honest, seeing him like this, I really can't feel any sympathy. Every time I close my eyes, I see those venomous eyes of his from my past life when he buried me alive. He's rotten to the core, and I dare not hope for him to change for the better, but I still symbolically advised Kathy a couple of words. "Sister-in-law, you should still send Harry back to the hospital. Look at what you've done to him." Kathy exploded as soon as she heard this. "What do you mean by that? What do you mean by what I've done to him? I'm his biological mother. Would I harm him? I think our Harry is perfectly fine. He's just a bit thin and coughs a little more often. I just found a folk remedy specifically for coughs, and this time it will definitely work. Stop trying to drive a wedge between Harry and me all day." Harry used to listen to me the most, but now he often gives me attitude. "It must be you saying bad things about me behind my back. Let me tell you, from now on, don't come back unless you have a reason. You're working now, and our family doesn't have a place set for you anymore." I turned to Harry and shrugged. indicating there was nothing I could do. See, I tried to persuade her, but your mom wouldn't listen. Harry's eyes shifted from hopeful to desperate. During these days, he couldn't even go to school when he was sick, staying home alone all day. He was either facing his nagging grandparents or Kathy, who seemed to be going insane, and his whole personality had become gloomy. He looks like he might be depressed. But Kathy didn't pay any attention to this change in him, focusing only on tinkering with her various home remedies. Since she didn't care, I certainly wasn't going to remind her. Otherwise, given her temperament, not only would she not listen, but she would also accuse me of cursing her son. But looking at Harry in this state, I doubt he can hold on for much longer. I stopped paying attention to them and let them do whatever they wanted. Not long after, when I received their call again, I realized just how accurate my premonition had been. Harry had passed out after taking a new folk remedy and was rushed to the ICU for emergency treatment. At first, when my parents found Harry unconscious, they didn't take it seriously and just thought he had fallen asleep, but after a long time, no matter how much they shouted, he didn't respond, and they started to panic. The first reaction of the two elderly people was to call me. I was about to perform surgery and immediately told them to call 120, but by the time I finished one surgery, Harry had just been brought back by the ambulance. Upon asking, I found out that Kathy thought going to the hospital was too expensive and forbade our parents from calling an ambulance. My mother recounted her exact words as, "That doctor said this medicine will just make you sleep, and you'll be fine after waking up." If it weren't for my brother, who happened to return from his driving shift and saw that Harry's condition was really not right, insisting on calling an ambulance, it's hard to say whether Harry would still be here now. Outside the operating room, my brother gave Kathy a severe scolding. Kathy initially endured it with a submissive attitude, but as she listened, she suddenly exploded. "Scold, scold, scold. All you do is scold people all day long. Have you ever taken care of your son? If it weren't for me running around everywhere to find medicine for him, if it weren't for all my hard work, you wouldn't have a single kind word. All you know how to do is scold. How was I supposed to know there was something wrong with that medicine? The doctor clearly said it was fine." The more she spoke, the more self-righteous she became. "If it weren't for you, this useless man, who can't earn any money, if you had the ability, you'd send your son abroad for treatment, but you don't, do you? If you don't have the ability, then stop yapping here. How did I end up marrying such a useless man?" My brother was so furious at her behavior that he slapped her twice. She was knocked to the ground by the blows, her face swollen. The sudden slaps left her dazed at first, but once she regained her senses, she began wailing and crying uncontrollably. "Go ahead, hit me, see if you have the guts to kill me. Everyone, come and see. How can there be such a man in this world? Useless himself, only knows how to hit a woman. Everyone, come and judge for yourselves." Seeing more and people gathering around to watch the commotion, I had to speak up to stop her for the sake of the hospital's quiet environment. "All right, that's enough. Haven't we given people enough to laugh at already?" I was fine staying silent, but as soon as I spoke, it was as if they had found a common enemy, and they both started targeting me. "My brother, how dare you speak? Your sister-in-law may be confused, but as a doctor, you didn't even try to advise her. The family spent so much money raising you, and when it really mattered, you were completely useless. Couldn't provide money, couldn't save anyone." Kathy immediately nodded in agreement. "Exactly, what kind of aunt are you? If you had said just one word to advise me, how could I have fed Harry this poison?" Even my parents chimed in, saying that raising me was less useful than raising a pig. At least a pig could be slaughtered for meat. While I was utterly worthless, I felt no emotional stir upon hearing this, for I had long been acquainted with their shamelessness. Their idea of raising me was to make me work like a beast of burden and serve them from a young age. Their so-called cultivation of me meant forcing me to take out loans and pushing me to work part-time while studying. I survived my entire college years on steamed buns, only daring to buy a fried egg when I received my paycheck. Even in my previous life, when Harry buried me alive, not a single one of them grieved for me. All they thought about was how to cover up for Harry and how to divide my inheritance after my death. I lost the concept of family long ago, didn't I? So I won't go easy on them either. Kathy, you're talking nonsense with your eyes wide open. I haven't lost my memory. I advised you to bring Harry to the hospital earlier, but you didn't listen and even told me not to come back to your house anymore. Now Harry was almost poisoned to death by you. It's your fault. Don't even think about pinning the blame on me. After saying that, I glanced at the other three and said coldly, "As for you, I believe I've never owed you anything. I've given enough over the years, since you looked down on it. Don't come looking for me if anything happens in the future." With that said, I turned and left. I just hope they truly won't come begging me in the future. Of course, I know this is impossible. I didn't even have to deliberately inquire about the outcome of Harry's surgery to find out, because his attending physician, Dr. Austin, came to me to vent. Dr. Jack refused to treat Harry again after being beaten by my brother last time, so the unfortunate Dr. Austin was pushed into the position. Dr. Austin told me that Harry's condition had been poorly managed since last time, and with all the junk Kathy had been feeding him these days, his stomach had already necrotized. This time, he was brought to the hospital too late, and he almost didn't make it. Fortunately, Dr. Austin is experienced and managed to save his life with a full effort in the end. However, a large portion of his stomach had to be removed, and from now on, he can only rely on liquid nutrition. I've never seen parents so ignorant. There was a great chance of a cure, but they stubbornly dragged it out to this outcome. Indeed, foolishness is the greatest evil. After saying that, he jokingly asked, "Doctor, why didn't you try to persuade them a bit more?" I smiled bitterly and said, "Since I was a child, I haven't even been allowed to eat at the table." With just that one sentence, he understood. If you can't even get a seat at the table, who would believe what you say? I never went to see Harry again. The last incident had taught me a lesson. I would never rush to be someone else's punching bag again. But what I didn't expect was that the first thing Harry did after waking up was to look for me. Kathy and my brother called me several times, but I pretended not to see it. I don't know what method Harry used, but the two of them actually came to my office in person to apologize, just to get me to go see Harry. In the end, I still went to see him. He was very excited to see me, and as soon as he got excited, he couldn't stop coughing. Cough, cough. "Auntie, you finally came to see me. Will you take me back to your home and take care of me? You used to be so good to me. You would find me tutors, wear a cheapo to send me off to the exam hall, and wish me success." My heart skipped a beat. All these things happened during Harry's senior year of high school, but right now he's only in 7th grade. Could it be that he was also reborn? Is that so? Then what should be the fate of someone like me, who treated you so well? I leaned against the wall, watching him coldly. In that instant, his gaze froze. It was a long time before he spoke again. "So you too? No wonder you didn't stay by my bedside all night this time." "Aunt, I was wrong. I was just deceived by my mother. I didn't really mean to kill you. Please forgive me." "Okay, after you died, I really regretted it. I know you were the one who treated me the best, yet I repaid your kindness with enmity. I'm not human, but I truly know I was wrong, which is why I took my own life in my previous life to atone. Since we've been given a second chance, Auntie, can we just forget what happened in our past lives?" He waited cautiously for my response, but I had no intention of letting him have his way, because I knew him all too well. When he said he had taken his own life to atone in his previous life, I didn't believe it. He is a pure egoist. When people or things are useful to him, he can abandon his dignity to grovel, but once they are no longer useful, he can discard or even destroy them without hesitation. I've already learned my lesson in my past life. If I don't grow wiser now, it would be a waste of the second chance that heaven has given me. "Harry, if saying sorry was enough, what would we need the police for? You should be glad I'm a law-abiding person, or else I'd really want you to experience what it feels like to be buried alive. Do you know how desperate that feeling is? How dare you even talk to me about forgiveness?" Cracks appeared on his hopeful face, and the ferocity in his eyes could no longer be concealed. "Why, in this life, I haven't harmed you. On the contrary, it's you. You didn't stop my mother, making me end up like this wretched state. I'm not even blaming you anymore, yet you're still clinging to what happened in the previous life. See, human nature truly doesn't change." In his heart, he has already blamed everything on me again. He just hasn't had the chance. If he did, he would probably still choose to bury me alive. Fortunately, I am no longer the Linda from my previous life. "Harry, helping you is a favor, not helping you is my right. Do you think there is any favor between us? And you need to understand clearly, it was Kathy who got you into this mess, not me." After saying that, I turned and left. "From now on, I won't see him again. Take me away, or I'll die. Please." His hysterical voice reached me, but all I felt was the relief of finally venting the pent-up anger in my chest. I'm looking forward to the day he dies. The next time I heard news about the Cruz family was when my brother got arrested. According to what my parents said on the phone, this matter is also related to Kathy. After Harry begged me for help and I refused, he used some methods and finally got my brother to agree to sell the house to pay for his treatment. After the house was sold, my brother contacted a specialist in B City and planned to take Harry there for treatment, but just before they set off, they discovered that the money from the house sale was gone. The money had been with Kathy the whole time, and when she couldn't come up with it, she initially claimed it had been stolen. My brother was so anxious that he reported it to the police. However, when the police investigated, they discovered that no one had stolen it. Instead, Kathy had been scammed herself. As soon as she got her hands on such a large sum of money, she started getting carried away, showing off everywhere, which caught the attention of someone with ill intentions. Someone set up a pig butchering scam. specifically for her, and she foolishly fell right into it, handing over all her house payment savings of several 100,000 yuan. The account that received the money was located overseas, making it nearly impossible to recover the funds. My brother was so enraged that he grabbed a knife and chased after Kathy, intending to kill her, but accidentally injured Kathy's brother, who had come to intervene. Her brother was severely injured and, reportedly, is still in ICU fighting for his life. Oh my God, how could we have married such a jinx? Not only did she harm Harry, but now she's harmed your brother too. Both men in our family have no hope left. How are we, the old couple, supposed to live from now on? My mother kept sobbing over the phone. Linda, you can't just abandon your brother. Haven't you read many books? You must know a lot of people. Hurry up and save your brother. What a joke. Do they think that just because I've read a lot, I've become omnipotent, as if I could just save a suspect with a snap of my fingers? Even if I could save him, I wouldn't. My brother has a violent temper and great strength. Ever since we were kids, if I didn't do what he wanted, he would beat me up, and several times he almost beat me to death. Where were my parents at that time? They stood by, scolding me for deserving it while praising my brother for his masculinity, saying he would surely achieve great things in the future. When it comes to my brother, I consider it an act of kindness that I don't take the chance to kick him while he's down. I'm just a small-time doctor. Who could I possibly know? You always say my brother is blessed, don't you? If he's truly blessed, then surely fate will lend a hand. You'd be better off praying to the heavens than asking me. It'd be far more effective. My dad was furious. You heartless, ungrateful wretch. He's your own brother, and you'd stand by and watch him suffer. If I'd known you'd grow up to be so useless, I should've strangled you at birth. At least that would have saved us some food. He kept on cursing, so I hung up the phone directly a long time ago. They had nothing to do with me anymore. Kathy's brother ultimately couldn't be saved, and my brother became a murderer, sentenced to life imprisonment. As soon as my brother was imprisoned, the Cruz family completely collapsed. My parents, because Kathy had harmed Harry and my brother, hated her intensely, beating and scolding her every day. She no longer boasted to everyone she met, "Our Kathy is truly capable," giving our Cruz family a grandson with her first child. Over time, Kathy couldn't take it anymore and ran off with what little money was left in the house. My parents, being old, couldn't earn much money, and with Harry as an added burden, life became very difficult for them. They came looking for me several times. At first, I managed to avoid them, but they were relentless, taking turns staking out my home and the hospital. They not only wanted money, but also wanted to dump Harry on me. I refused to take care of Harry, but gave them some money, just to buy some peace and quiet. When they came back to me after using up the money, they found that I had already left. I applied for an external training program with the hospital and will be studying abroad for a year. The moment the plane took off, I truly saw the light of freedom. Years later, Harry made headlines in the news. He killed Kathy, then set a fire that burned himself and my parents to death. I don't know what method Harry used to trick Kathy into going back to see him, but it was during this meeting that Kathy lost her life and that of her unborn child. After killing someone, Harry set another fire, and the entire rental house was burned down, leaving only 4 charred bodies. According to the news report, the time of the fire was exactly when I was buried alive in my previous life, and 5 minutes before the fire started, I had received a message from Harry. "Aunt, I killed my mother. She ruined my father and me. How can she still live a good life? Since I'm going to die anyway, I'll drag her down with me. Why is fate so unfair? Both of us were reborn, yet you were able to change your destiny, while I'm still trapped in the fate of killing my own family." I didn't answer him, because I couldn't give him an answer either, but I believe that, as human beings, it's always better to be kind. After hearing the stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.